Welcome back to the new topic in the Chat GPT with SQL. Now in this video, we'll learn how to debug a code and troubleshoot the errors from that SQL query. Now, I'll just tell you one incident which will help you to motivate to see this video. When I was in my 20s, I was working in a company. I was a hardworking person. I'm still the hardworking. But I used to keep my machine open where I've written a lot of code over there. Okay. And suddenly when I go for a break, bio break or a tea break somewhere, suddenly my colleague used to come who was troubling me a lot. The person used to come. There was a, like, let's say 100 lines of code. The person used to delete the comma or delete the bracket, and then he used to go away. And that one activity used to, it was very costly activity which I have to invest 3 to 4 hours to find out what exactly happened, why the code is not executing, what is the problem there. And that time it was not Chat GPT. The internet was costly. It was 250 rupees per GB, which is around $3, $4, $5 somewhere. Now it is very cheaper. So how do I get this debugging or troubleshooting now with ChatGPT within seconds, within minutes? So people who are before ChatGPT and after ChatGPT will understand the importance of this particular tool. So this kind of incidents might have occurred with you where people trouble you and you struggle to fix the problem, right? Let's find out. The question here is debug this code. Okay, the question here is debug the code and find out the mistakes. Okay, fix it and let me know what exactly is fixed. So what I can do is, this is the code. If you remember in the previous example I've shown you, from this particular code I will delete any one comma, one bracket or something. Here I can just pick up and delete one bracket. So you see I will delete one bracket from here, and remember it's object ID. From here I've deleted one bracket. I'll copy the code, Control C in Chat GPT, Shift Enter, Control V, and I can execute. So let's see, it will find out the error and tell me where exactly the error has occurred. Okay, so you see it is writing the code again, it is fixing the problem. Okay, and it will also tell me where exactly the errors happened. So I'll tell them absolute. If you see that somewhere which I've shown you right now, it's this location which is object ID absolute checksum. So let's see, that's the object ID absolute checksum new ID. So here is the option where they said something was missing over there. So I will tell them show me the line where error was there, right? So I'm exactly asking them give me the line where it was there. So you see this is the one where they are asking me, that's the absolute check new ID. This is the place where they have found the error. Okay, the closing parenthesis after %365 should have been moved to the end of the date function like this. So now it is trying to show me that this was something which was missing. You could have done it better. Okay, I think this is the line which I've removed. So now everyone, this was very difficult, very costly when I was working earlier. But now using this tool, I think my work has been reduced. Now there are very few people who can fool me around when I keep my machine or laptop open, and this is how it can work. So again, I can ask them one more thing, rewrite the same code in a very small number of lines. It's a very lengthy code. Can I reduce the number of lines over there? Okay, and it will give me the answers in a very short format as well. Okay, this is the smallest number of lines I've got. So I can say precaution is better than cure here. So I can ask them, can you give me, so I've asked them, can you give me 10 places which are common for people who make mistakes in the SQL? So these are the common places. One is the syntax errors, second is the joins, third one is null handling, aggregate functions, data types, and so on. So these are the 10 places where a person has to be careful. Now I want you to go through those functions if you're a new person related to SQL, or if you're a person who wants to optimize your speed into SQL, right? This is one thing. Now again, I keep on repeating same thing, 70 to 90% something which you can trust on ChatGPT, not 100%. It is also making some problems and errors. Remember that thing as well. Perfect, everyone. So I hope you have understood how to debug and troubleshoot the error messages or errors in the SQL code itself. That's all for this video. Welcome back to this new topic in SQL with ChatGPT. Now, usually if I want to learn about the SQL, I used to go to W3 schools, I used to go pavanlalwani.com or other locations to understand about the SQL. But now with the time with GPT, I don't have to go and learn the entire topic. I can quickly go to ChatGPT and I can ask them, how do I create some specific query? So everyone, in this video, we'll be learning how to create a query using ChatGPT for SQL Server here. Okay. When I say SQL Server, you can create a similar queries for almost 50 plus different data sources. SQL, Oracle, MySQL, and so on, you can create for them. So now let's try to test it. I have the MySQL server right now on my machine, and now I want to write some SQL queries over there. But I do not know, I am very bad into SQL queries. Let's assume I'm good into it, but let's assume. So how do I create some queries into the MySQL server over there? By writing some topic here. So what is the question right now I'll be asking them? The question I'll right now ask them that create a SQL query for the below activities. The first activity is a data set should be related to Netflix movies and the series. That's a context I'm trying to give them. Okay. And now I tell them that create a database. Okay. So create a database, and I can just press enter. Now what will happen is it is trying to do some topics over there. If you see the explanation and the example as well it is giving, and I did not ask them to insert the data. Okay. Carefully observe. If I scroll up, it says on the top that this is the SQL query to create a database. Now, since I already know it, I can quickly guess about this is a query for creating a database. But some people who are very new to SQL Server, MySQL Server, what they can do is they need to have some prerequisite understanding about how to install the software, how to configure the software, how to enter the username, password, and so on. People who know this basics, they can actually do it from there. Even if you don't know the basics, still you can ask the same thing to these ChatGPT and it will give you the answers. Let's try. So if you see on my screen, I have already installed this SQL server over here, which is known as Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. This is also known as Microsoft SSMS. Okay, SQL Server Management Studio. So here what I can do is, if you see on the left hand side, I've already connected to the database over here. Now I'm creating a new database. So how do I do that? I can just copy the code from here and I can just paste the code on this location. So first thing what it will do is it will create a database, and the name of the database is Netflix DB. So DB stands for database. This is the method or the convention by which you write a query. Okay. Then after creating that, it is switching to the newly created database, and now it is inserting a table. Okay. In that table, if you see create table Netflix, int ID, int primary key, auto increment, and so on. So it is giving some details. If I want to execute, I'll select that thing and I'll just click on this execute button. Here, Netflix DB should be ideally visible on the left hand side. Now, if it is not visible, I have to right click and I have to click on refresh. Now, this features are not written over there, but I'm just pointing out this thing that you can see the Netflix DB on the left hand side. So this is the Netflix DB. Now, same way, if I want to create some table over here, okay, which I did not ask them, I wanted to ask in the next question, but I'll select this and I can click on execute. Now here is the error message. So it says incorrect syntax near auto increment. Now I am stuck. I do not know. I don't have instructor. I am very poor. I'm a poor boy and I have no one to guide me. No problem. You can copy this particular text in the error message, go to ChatGPT and paste it over there. So trust me, it can give the fastest response ever than any teacher you have ever met. But you have to be careful. It lies a lot. Okay. So it says apologies for the confusion. The error has occurred and so and so. So I might copy the code again. Okay. I will copy the code and I can just paste it over here. Control A, Control V. Now when I select this data and I can click on execute. So it says still incorrect syntax near movie. So I have to do this again and again. Okay. I have to just do it again and again till I get the code right. Okay. Till I get the code right. Once I get the right code, obviously I can create a particular table. So let me copy this again, Control A, Control V, I can execute. So finally, after multiple iterations, it gave me the answer. Now it says there's a Netflix contained type of table. It's a name of table. And if I expand this tables on the left hand side, I do not see any table. However, I can right click and refresh. When I right click and refresh here on the left hand side, Netflix, if I go to tables, I should be able to see the tables over there. Okay. In this Netflix content. So it is not there. Let me just select use and then create and then right click and refresh. So here in the database, Netflix database in the tables, I have got it. So actually it created in some other location. So I made it right again by selecting the option as use Netflix DB. That means in this particular DB, you have to create that table. Now, for whom it is useful? It is useful for everyone. If you are a student, okay, learning in school or a college and you have no one to guide you, ChatGPT 3.5 is free of cost. Anybody can open, log in and start using it. Number two, If you're a teacher who is trying to teach to the students, you can just try to ask them, show me top 10 examples which I can teach them in 1 hour. Okay. And it should be very, very simple option. If you're a working professional, if you get stuck into any query right now, you can put the scenario in this particular GPT and get out all the proper SQL queries so that you can use it. If you are getting some error, just copy that error, paste it there, you'll get the answers. So any person who wants to understand definitely can get all the requirement from here. Now let's move on. So now I'll tell them Control C and I can press Control V. So what I want here right now is I want them to insert records in table with dummy data of 10 different countries. Okay, and I'll press enter. So right now the data is related to Netflix. So Netflix data, and I'll just copy the code over here, and I'll go to this Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, SSMS, and I can paste it here. Now this is the code. Now imagine to write this code, I will take a lot of time. As a student, you should do it practically. You should understand how to get it. But after some time, if you need some help, some student, some teacher or mentor, you can use it. I can select this, click on execute. It says 10 rows are affected. Now let me check whether it is working or not. So I'll write as select a star from, and the name of the table is Netflix contain. So I can copy and I can paste it over here, semicolon, and I can execute. So I can select, execute, and I can get the answer. So you see, everyone, it created database, it created table, it inserted values, and it is showing me the output here. Okay, now this is for Netflix. Since you are very young, who's watching right now, for you, people have put as Netflix, but in real time, it becomes more boring. Professionals are a little boring over there. They put the data for employee database, hierarchy management, product management, then they put the marketing and sales contain. Then they have multiple examples which they put. But you can make it more interesting if you're a student, make it lively so that you can learn it from there for your purpose here. Now, the last question I can ask them, what is the question here is, can you alter the table, okay, with some random changes? Now, if you're a student of SQL, you might know there's a DDL, DML, DCL. These are the queries which you have data manipulation language, data definition language, and so on. So I've asked them to do an alter the table with some changes and enter here. But in real time, you can ask them exact specific questions that change the data type of a column, increment the column, or add one extra column, or delete one column. You can ask them that way. So here I can just copy the code over here, and now I can just paste the code. This particular code I can just again select and I can execute. So it has done some changes, and here if I want, I can see the changes what has been done. So you see it has added the country which is given as null, or some options they have added. So coming to the point over here, how do I create SQL queries using ChatGPT? That's the topic here. You can also ask them, explain me the query. I will put the query, explain me the query, which we'll see in the next topic right now. So use this ChatGPT. Now, since I have shown you one example of SSMS, consider this SSMS as one tool. There are almost 50 plus data sources, okay, like SQL, Oracle, and other places. The same query works in all the data sources. If you learn one SQL language, you are capable of learning all the data sources as well. So you can start copy pasting over there as well. Perfect. So I hope you have understood how to create the SQL queries in ChatGPT for SQL Server or any other database. That's all for this video. Welcome back. So we have learned about how do I create SQL queries using ChatGPT. But now suppose you already have queries. Have you heard about the people who are working in the companies in the other places like in US and other countries? They usually require on-job support. They need one person named as on-job support who helps them to understand what is the work done. They get into the company somehow, but once they get into companies, they don't know what exactly has to be done. So for those people also, this SQL query can be very helpful. Okay, this ChatGPT. Now, what is the topic here? I have a code written in the organization, but I do not know what exactly it's written, right? How do I understand? How do I decode that code? So this topic is explain the SQL query code, okay, SQL code which is written, and make me understand. Okay, let's try to do it. So imagine in the previous video or the previous topic, we have seen how to create tables and the database. So I'll just copy this, okay, and here in the ChatGPT, I'll just create a new chat maybe, and here I can paste that particular code of creating database, creating a SQL query. And then what I can do is I can ask them that this question. The question would be, explain me the query, okay, written above. Now I'll tell them it's written below to a 20-year-old boy, okay, which is in college studying in the Texas University. So instead of Texas University, I'll tell them is working in Facebook, okay, Facebook company. Explain me in that way. And I can just click on OK button. So, but 20-year-old people are very smart nowadays. So I don't think 20-year-old people will search this kind of option. I'll put here 40-year. Okay. So 40-year-old person will definitely search this kind of query. Logical. This is very much logical, I can say. And I can just click on next button here. So now when you see this, it is trying to give you the whole story about it. Okay, boss, what is this line all about? What is the second line all about? And it says, let's try to read few lines. So it says, create database Netflix. This line creates a new database named as Netflix DB. Think of a database as a container that holds organized information like collection of tables. So technically it is right. So a database is a bigger container which contains multiple small tables. Each table contains column headings and row headings and data sets, whatever it is there. And this is how the whole database looks like. So now the next option, use Netflix DB. It says this line is instructing database system to switch to the Netflix DB. Because there are multiple containers right now. Which container I should go and create a table? So it is using the Netflix DB here. And so on. This is the whole story. A person who is dedicated to learn SQL or any language, I can say, should use ChatGPT. But it fools. Remember, it is fooling people as well sometimes. And I'll be proving that very soon in the last video, I guess. And it fools you very confidently. Trust me, that if you ask them, is it correct or this is not correct? So you'll say, apologies, it's not correct, and I'll give the answers. Perfect. So now let's see the same example now. I want them to explain me, Control C, and here I have just pasted the query on this place. The question here is, explain me with the sales and marketing data set. Okay, same queries. I belong to a domain which is more of sales and marketing. I do not understand the HR data, which is the employee relation and so on. So explain me in the sales and marketing. I am very good into that. I'll explain. So what it does is it understands your feeling, your psychology and so on. So here it says, create database, which is sales marketing DB. Use that particular DB, okay, database, and then create a table. So if you observe, this is product sales. Now the table which is created, the name of the table is also given relevant, which is product sales, and the columns are also given accordingly. So this is how the whole story has been written, or all the queries have been written. You can explain, you can ask them to explain the code, or you can ask them to create a query as well. Both the places it can do. Okay. Now also, if you need some understanding about some topic, for example, I can select this, Control C, and I can press Control B. Some random topic I've selected. I did not understand this properly. So I'll write as I did not understand this properly. And here it says apologies for the confusion, and it is giving a whole summary for that particular topic. This is the topic which is trying to say. So everyone, I hope you're getting the point of how ChatGPT will help you explain the SQL query code, so that if you are a person, 40-year-old person in some company who is looking for help in some code, that can ask you. Today, many people from US call India, okay, I want on-job support. I'm not able to survive in the company. If not, I will be pushed out of the company. So that is how it can be useful. Perfect, everyone. So I hope you have understood, and that's all for this video. Welcome back to this new video on the SQL query with ChatGPT. Now, usually people have a lot of big codes in the company where they have received either from the previous developer who have left the company, or the colleague who is very smart into technical and keeps on writing the query. Now, how can I ask ChatGPT to add the comments to that particular SQL code? Now remember, a good code is something which is understandable by the next person who is newly joined to the company, or who is shifting from A department to B department easily, or the A project to B project. So what I can do is, right now I have some code over here. Let me show you that particular code. It's a very lengthy code. I've just copy pasted that code in the notepad right now. So it says this is a code, and I do not know. I have recently joined the organization, but my manager or the team leader have asked me to understand this code, go through this code. I will definitely go through. I'm the smartest person right now whom they have hired. I'm an IIT graduate. But right now, it will take me time, 15, 20, 30, 1 hour, okay, 60 minutes, depending upon how smart I am or how lengthy the code is. But here, if I want to get the answers quickly done, okay, I want this code to be commented and I want to rewrite that code. So what I can do is Control A, Control C, Chat GPT, Control V. Remember, you cannot rely 100% on Chat GPT. 70 to 90% is the ratio. You have to be equally smart to find out mistakes from Chat GPT. Enter. Now, here is it's a lengthy code, definitely. Here, if you observe, it is writing on the top or somewhere wherever it is possible. So it is rewriting the code with the comments. Now, it has not written properly. If you see the comments, hardly 2-3 comments are there. I will tell them write comment for every line. Okay, write comment from every line. Now people who are on bench, right, in the organization, your managers, your team leaders might be troubling you for unwanted work in the organization. Even if you're on bench, do this, do the repetitive job and create something. So same way you can treat Chat GPT. Imagine it's on bench, it is not doing anything, and here it is trying to give you separate comments for every line. Now I can just copy this code and I can use it in my real time. Okay, this is one example. Now, I have not validated the code. It is your duty to find out if the code is correct or wrong. The second part of this thing is the code, people write it lengthy. Okay. The person who has written the code was a 30-year-old person, 40-year-old person, 50-year-old guy. Now, with the time have changed, people have found out shortcuts to get the code in a simpler manner. So, can I optimize this particular code? Can I reduce the size of this code? Can I write the same code in less number of lines? Okay, let's try to understand. Can you write same code in 3 lines, or not 3 lines? 3 lines would be very less. Minimum number of lines possible. Okay. Can you write the same code in minimum lines possible? So it is trying to do its best, and to do this, you see, it is definitely the smaller code than the previous one, and it has given a shortest format which I can explain and understand properly. Okay, this is how you can optimize the code. Now, what happened if you minimize the number of lines? There is a possibility that the size of the code reduces. There's a possibility that the performance will be better, okay, depending upon what the code, what the functions are there, and your speed of querying the data. What is that structured query language? The process of querying the data or fetching the data would become much faster. So you can add the comments or you can optimize the code as well with the help of this Chat GPT. Remember to verify, validate, it is going to make mistakes. Now here, this is the two things which you can take care of that. But for time being, I hope you have understood how to add the comments and optimize the code using ChatGPT. That's all for this video. Welcome back to this new video on ChatGPT with SQL. This is specially designed video for all the teachers, mentors and coach and instructors who teach SQL for their students. We need quality teachers for sure. I have spent almost 1/3 of my life, almost 13-14 years of my life in teaching and giving knowledge to all the people across the world. I have faced many challenges when I create some content, when I create some case study, assignment, MCQs for the students as well. It has happened many times that in the morning I teach, evening I go back and prepare the material, assignment, questions, everything for the next day batch. And this is a lot of time consuming. Now, for all the instructors, educators, I don't want you to work hard, work smarter and take the advantage of this ChatGPT tool. This is going to help you big time to pass on the knowledge to the next generation people. What is the tool over here? So the video name is ChatGPT for SQL users or teachers, mentors and instructors. Now, suppose you are a teacher right now and you want to test your students on SQL topic. Now, you have been asked them to create MCQs, multiple choice questions on SQL. How many questions? Let's say 20 questions. You are smart, we know, I know, but to create 20 questions, you will require 20 minutes minimum. Okay, when I say minimum, you are the smartest person if I say. If you're not smartest, it will take 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to design the question. Now, here you can ask ChatGPT, okay, that create the MCQs, 20 MCQs for beginners who are studying in 12th class, basic to intermediate. So I'll write down the question here. So I've written here, create 20 MCQs on SQL for 12th class students in India from basic to intermediate. And the last difficult topic which you should create MCQs is on joins. Why last difficult topic? Because even I don't know after the joins part, I can say that. So here I'll just press enter. Now this tool will create 20 MCQs in less than 60 seconds, 120 seconds, max to max. If you see, it is creating. Now, obviously, these are only questions. I also want the answers. Write the answers also, number one, and create this MCQs in table format. Okay. So obviously I need to copy paste as well. So I want them to make my work easier. And this is how it has created the table answers in the table format. Now, it did not understand the question properly. In fact, I was not able to explain the question properly. Okay, so I can tell them create MCQs and the answers in table format. Right. So here you have to keep on iterating, keep on explaining till you get the right answers. It still did not understand, which is fine. So all the teachers, instructors, you understood how to create MCQs. Number one, point number one. Number two, you are being assigned to create an assignment for your students so that they can do the practical. Okay. So I can write them. Right. So now I've written a question that create an assignment of 20 marks on SQL for 12th class students studying in Texas University. So I'll say for students in Texas University, database should be related to politics. There are a lot of politics people work. I'm not sure whether it's right or not. People can comment in the description or somewhere. So create 20 questions and at the end of that all, give me the answers as well. So now I am a teacher instructor. I want to create 20 marks assignment for them so that they can go home and come back. Now, all the teachers, everyone, now it's the time where you can trouble your students. They have troubled you a lot, and you have to be more smarter, more punctual than your students. I know I felt that thing, but now you can do this and ask them to give you the answers. And for students, you meet me in the next section. I'll tell you how you can solve the problems as well. So these are all the questions which you can ask them. Okay, and obviously you need some database as well. So what you can do is you can ask them, all the teachers, create dummy data for this assignment. Okay, create dummy data for the assignment and enter. So now it will create some dummy data which you can copy paste and send it to your colleagues or your students and you can get the answers. So everyone, creating MCQs, creating the assignments. Now you can talk about creating projects. Okay, create a project on SQL which should take. Okay, so I've written as create a project on SQL which should take 1 hour to complete. Okay, again they have created something, project, task, additional task, and all those details it has given. And now as a teacher you can copy paste and give it to your student. They can do this work completely. So now this is all the topics which are related to SQL. You can create a project. Now what else does a teacher has in the college or the school or university? They need to create timetables regularly. Number one, they need to create the timesheets of the students and the feedback also. If you write the proper description about the student, it will give you all the required answers. There are some students who are very weak into the studies but they want to work, right? So you can write the entire description about that student. This is a student, he has a problem in family, he doesn't have money, he is attentive, he wants to pay attention, he has only 1 hour. What should I do to make this student more beneficial? So a good teacher, a good mentor will always pick up the weakest student, not the smartest student. So weakest student is something which is our target area. So write down all the description about that person, about that student, and you'll get the answers. I know you have large number of students which you need to look after. This chat GPT is going to definitely help you get the right answers for that particular student. Smartest students, they know how to search, how to get survive in the market, but your target audience is the weakest student, which I always focus on. Perfect, everyone. This is the chat GPT for SQL, and this is especially for teachers, mentors, coach, instructors, everyone who is spreading the knowledge to other people. It's not only a title, teacher, mentor. It can be one person teaching one person. You are a mentor or teacher or coach. Okay. So I think this can help you out to pass on the knowledge to your colleagues and other folks as well. I hope you have understood, and that's all for this video.